Hello? Does this thing work? This is the Peak Boredom Podcast.
3, 2, 1. Hi guys, welcome back to Peak Boredom. Woo! Okay, so I'm Lauren, and then Mars, and then Inga, your regular host. I'm an extra host today. And today we have a special guest, my friend Rachel from
Yay! Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Do you want to introduce yourself a bit?
Sure. My name is Rachel, and I am unfortunately Lauren's friend.
We're not even 1 minute to the podcast, and she has roasted me already. Right? Okay.
I did that with my other friend. I did the same intro. You're good.
I'm just kidding. I'm just playing it. But yeah, so I've been invited to this podcast, because I'm an aspiring journalist, and I guess that's what we'll be talking about in today's podcast. So yeah, stay tuned.
Let's start with the basics then. What kinds of journalism are there, and what are your experiences with them?
I've been in this field, or like practicing in this field for like at least 5 years. I'm a Singaporean journalist based in Hong Kong. So yeah, there's many different types of journalism, like, to work on and all that. And yeah, and it's something that I'm really passionate about because I don't know, it's just like I enjoyed reading when I was younger, and then slowly and just gradually I started to read, a lot of newspapers, and then I decided that it's a path that I wanted to pursue. So yeah, that's how I started. So now I think I've been studying and practicing journalism for around at least 5 years and counting. So there's many different types of journalism I tried out. I started out as a lifestyle journalist, so I basically did a lot of I did a lot of entertainment related news, let's say, and covering things like music festivals, interviewing musicians, things like that, and also doing things about youth issues and also internet culture. But that was all in Singapore. And then when I moved to Hong Kong, I became more focused in working stories about Hong Kong society and Hong Kong politics. And yeah, the last year I was busy. I was kind of busy covering the protest, the protest in Hong Kong. So that actually helped me shape my career as a journalist. And that was also the first time when I really started to work for, in a newsroom instead of just doing freelance or, working in school. So it's been an interesting journey so far, and hopefully there's more to come in the future. Yeah.
How do you feel about these different types of journalism? Like, are they more chill maybe? Are they more strenuous? Are they more fast-paced? What's it like?
Or like which one do you like personally? Because I remember when I did so I also wanted to go journalism when I was younger, thinking that I have the talent. I do not, but I did lifestyle journalism for a while. It was fun, but for me it wasn't my passion. So I'm curious how you decided that which one of the journalism is, your favorite, or that gives you the thrill of life.
Sure. When I first started out in lifestyle journalism, I thought it was something that I don't mind, pursuing longer, and or even for the rest of my life, because it's like I quite enjoyed, let's say writing reviews on movies, writing reviews on like restaurants, things like that, and also like meeting like cool local musicians, international musicians. That was pretty fun too, and just seeing how the event scene in Singapore was like. But after I moved to Hong Kong, when I started working on more news about concerning about Hong Kong society and Hong Kong politics, I realized that I just felt that there was a lot more meaning in the stories that I'm doing now. It's like I feel that it's impacting people's lives, and raising awareness to different things that that should be talked more about, essentially, and also hopefully giving people a chance to to say their side of the story, and then as my role as a journalist is to share it. So yeah, like I would say I won't really have a favorite type of journalism because I do enjoy most of them. But then what I really, really felt, something that gave me the most meaning in so far has been working on stories about, like things like, what's happening in the society, what's happening in the political scene, maybe even, how's the economy doing, things like that. And hopefully in the future I can try out more styles of journalism. I would say that maybe I'm hoping to expand into business journalism, financial journalism, just to like understand how the markets work and how it affects people and how it affects our daily lives and such. Because even for very big global issues like like say for example the COVID-19 outbreak, there's so much that's happening in the financial point of view, and also in like maybe even in the political point and the social point of view as well. Like how are people reacting to the quarantine? How are governments spending on different policies for the citizens, and how are the investors doing? It's just everything is just all connected into one, and it's different fields that I don't mind exploring more. Yeah.
Did you get the chance to do any lifestyle stuff in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I do. Like I did a lot of like culture related stories as well. Like for example, I did a story on how qi pao cheongsam.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. So it's like those traditional Chinese costumes, right? And then I did a feature on this guy who is one of the last remaining traditional cheongsam or like qi pao makers in the world. In the city, I guess. So because he does it by hand, so like definitely no one really younger really does that anymore because everything is all machine made. So yeah, I did a feature on him.
That's cool.
It's
The
one of the
hypebeast
dying, not the hypebeast one, but it's
No.
Hypebeast.
the hypebeast. I did a story on streetwear.
Yeah, the hypebeast one.
That's a different story. Yeah, that's a different story. Yeah, but that's one of the things I did for culture. And I also did a story on how Hong Kong indie musicians are surviving in Hong Kong. Yeah, back when I was still a student journalist. So basically, I went to interview a few indie bands and then spoke to a few indie organizers about how the scene is like and what are the challenges of sustaining, music in. So yeah, that's just some of the cultural stories that I've worked on before.
How different is the scene from Singapore then? Like Hong Kong versus Singapore's?
I think.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't say there's much of a difference, but I would say what's similar it's the struggles and the challenges, because Hong Kong, Singapore, we are more known to be like all business, finance kind of thing, right? So for the arts, there's still a gap in my opinion, and there's still things that people are working on. So I can see that there's a lot of underground artists and also a lot of aspiring ones who are hoping to like make it big. So or like at least have a presence. So so being exposed to both sides just made me see the similarities as well. Yeah.
How long did it take you starting from when you first started out trying out that lifestyle journalism until where you are now? How long did it take you to start? Like, how did you even get access to talking to these people? Do you get like passes or press passes or how
Okay, so
those are the best. The press passes.
She had the name tag that time.
Yeah, I remember when my friend did lifestyle journal, she had like a press pass for I think it was a music festival. So she's like, I'm a press.
Yeah. So how it works is like we will there's a public relations agency or PR company. So they basically the company works with the event. Let's say you are organizing a music festival, and then they will work together, and then they will liaise with the journalists or the editors, things like that, to ask. So in advance, sometimes we have to give our details. Let's say our name, which media are we from, and then it will take some days to process, and then they will issue you a pass before the event. So yeah, you can actually go for these events for free, but you have to work. So yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, so like one of my most interesting, I would say, gigs was like this music festival in Singapore. So it's like there's a lot of different genres of like artists, like indie artists or like folk bands, like just like some popular singers, things like that. But yeah, and I was the photographer there, so I basically got to be like, I got to touch the stage essentially and just snap photos of like
I heard.
So nice.
It's so nice.
of the famous musicians playing. So, but then the crowd was behind me, like separated by
Wow.
by some barriers. So I guess that's a good perk to have. Like I got to be up close and I got to take a photo. Yeah, I got to take photos. Yeah. And then sometimes sometimes they will arrange sessions for interviews as well. So yeah, you have to liaise with the PR. So maybe they'll give you like maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and then you go into a room and then you just speak to let's say the musician or the band. Yeah, and then you get your story and you write it out and you publish it. So yeah, I interviewed like a band from Mali, which is a country in Africa before, because they came to Singapore to perform, and they are like I think they are like a folk band. And then I also interviewed Grayson Chance. Not sure if you know him, but he was the US.
Who doesn't know that?
I don't know. Basically, I mean, for context, in case your viewers don't know, but like, yeah, US artists who came to Singapore to perform. So that was like some of the more fun parts about being a lifestyle journalist doing music and entertainment. Yeah.
Maybe I should pretend to be a journalist to go to concerts.
See, that was what I was wondering. How do we know the difference between someone like Lauren?
Yeah, someone like Lauren.
I mean, if I'm always representing a media organization when I'm going in. So
check you.
Yeah, so you have to
your
work.
ID. Oh.
Yeah, you have to contribute or like work for them at least, and then
yeah.
And because the media, the news or the media company will be in contact with the PR agency, right? So that's how we work together and how they decide, maybe this writer should go, maybe this photographer should go. Yeah, and then we work together, and then they will work with each other, and then they will produce like whatever material that we need to work for this festival. But yeah, so it's basically it's not free lunch. You get to go for these events for free, but it can be pretty hectic as well, because I have like some of my duties will include taking photos, doing social media, like for example live tweeting or like Insta stories, things like that. And then after that you still have to do like a article write up and then post it like by the night or the day.
Can you
it's a lot of work.
Bring an assistant next time? I'll be your assistant. I'll do the IG live for you.
Like I do have some events that maybe need a +1, but it's like usually it's for like food tastings or like media events.
Oh, me, it's okay. I'm okay with food
Who
tasting.
Who are you?
I'm your best friend.
But yeah, but I don't really do those types of news anymore. Like I haven't been to a food. Yeah, lifestyle, like what I'm doing for lifestyle I haven't been that active as of yet. Yeah, hopefully in the future. Mm-hmm.
I remember the only hectic one I did for journalism was like red carpet journalism. That was like, God damn it! There was like so many photographers. My eyes hurts, and I have to remember like 40 of these YouTubers. Now, like I don't know. I know like one. And I was like, oh my God, Mr. Yang, I watch your shows. It's so great. Now you're gonna go to the newsroom and then you're gonna take pictures in the red carpet. I was like, so stressful.
I feel you because I always like sometimes I have to squeeze with like all these reporters and all the photographers because everybody just wants the best view, right? Just to see what's happening. So it's like
That's true.
it's like you have to be like very thick skin to try to like get your way through. You know, you'll be just stuck behind.
Because if you do your
and you can't see
lifestyle,
anything.
yeah. If you
Yeah.
do lifestyle, like there's like one news reporter and then another one. So you want to
Yeah.
put them in the right news because sometimes they don't want you, and you're like, oh no,
Yeah, I
never
don't
mind.
know.
And it's kind of awkward. It's really
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, but well, it's part of the job to squeeze in
Yeah.
journalism. I mean, not just for lifestyle journalism, just
Yeah.
journalism in general. Sometimes, sometimes you just have to,
Yeah.
or like just to get the best view, or like just to hear the person like speak. Yeah.
Have you
Pretty
ever done
simple.
interviews with children? Because I know when I was a kid, after one performance that I did, a reporter tried to come and talk to me, but to me it was like a stranger. I didn't know he was a reporter, so I
Yeah.
just ran away.
Honestly,
Yeah, so what happens? Yeah, so like basically what happens is, for children it's a special case. So sometimes you have to ask parents for their permission. Yeah, it really depends on the newsroom and who you're working with as well. Because sometimes you can get the parents to sign a release form to say that, I can speak to the children. Yeah, so that's the more formalized process. But yeah, it's always good to get approval from the parents, whether it's formally through like signing a form or whether it is just asking the parents straight. Yeah, so I did this assignment where I think I went to Ocean Park in Hong Kong, and then there was this like event that there was this young girl who wrote a book about conservation, marine conservation, global warming, climate change. She has her own coloring book and all that.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, can I don't mind talking to her, asking her her inspirations, about her future plans. So yeah, her parents were there, so I just asked if I could speak to her, and they were like, okay, that's cool, like so fun, like and then
How old?
I think she was like 10 years old or something.
Wow.
what was I doing at
10 years old like that?
Yeah, but yeah, the ethically speaking, it's not good to publish stories about children if you don't have adult permission.
What's the difference in timeline of publishing a story between like lifestyle and like live news reporting? Like, can you give us a timeline?
It's so different.
It's very different. I think for lifestyle journalism, when I was doing all the covering all the events, sometimes it depends. Sometimes when I'm doing live reporting, let's say I'm covering an event or something like that, and then they want live tweeting, so it's still like on the spot. I have to shoot something, and then I have to take some photos, and then maybe tweet, Facebook, or like IG story. So for social media wise, it can be quite immediate, and then compared to maybe like when I'm in let's say like a protest or things like that. So sometimes I also record things in real time, and then I post them on social media.
Yeah, I saw.
So all this is happening in real time. So it will be pretty hectic because there's a lot of things happening, right? And then you have to, think of what you want to write in your tweet or your Facebook copy or whatever. So it's like, and then you still have to observe what's going on around you. So in that aspect, social media wise, it can be pretty hectic. Yeah. But then I guess for article wise, it's also very different because some articles maybe you can have some time. Maybe if you are doing a feature story, so maybe you can slowly take your time to find. Okay, not slowly take your time, but you can take some time to find your sources, like find interviewees, approach different organizations, and then spend some days to speak to them, and then write out the article, and then you can slowly do more research. So this is the more feature style. So usually this type of stories will take about maybe a few days to a week or so to publish. Yeah, and then usually for things like events or like what's happening on the get-go, it's usually you have to do it quite fast. Like maybe in a day you have to get it out, or like on the day itself you have to get it out. And for breaking news, it's even more urgent. For yeah, so yeah, like yeah, so the timeline can be pretty. It can be like you have to do it right now, or you can take some time. So it depends on the complexity of your stories, and also how urgent the whatever that's happening that you're reporting on is.
How long
Especially
does
for
process take? Because for science, how long does the editing process take? Because for science journals, we would submit it, and then it get proofread, and then after that, it gets sent back for corrections, and then it just goes through loop and loop and loop and loop until it's finally.
Again, it really depends. Like maybe I would say for hard news, so things like, for example, if I'm covering a press conference or like just maybe like with the government or things like that. So things like this have to be out as soon as possible. So
yeah.
or like maybe when I'm doing a story on, let's say, some political developments, so I have to do the story pretty quickly, right? So usually it will take. It really depends on organizations. So for example, if I'm in Hong Kong working for a local news organization, it will be much faster. The process is actually much faster, because for local news it's like, I guess like Hong Kongers have to know what's happening,
Yeah.
and local news are more focused on covering more aspects of, let's say, what's happening in the like in politics or in society, things like that. So yeah, it can take just a few hours to a day, or sometimes when it's breaking news, within the fastest was like when I did a breaking news for a protest like outbreak, it was like half an hour.
Yeah.
An article
Wow.
out by half an hour. Everything edited. Yeah, and then I will
Yeah,
update along the way. If I have anything new. Yeah, but for like maybe in my experience when I work for foreign media organizations, they take a bit longer, because maybe their target audiences are like Westerners, things like that. So they don't have to know every single detail of what's happening. So they just want to know the big picture. So these kind of things can take a bit longer to like research through, and I have more time to approach and find people, and then just have more time to develop the story. But yeah, so typically it will take maybe within a day, or like within a week, or even a few weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially when Hong Kong was having the protests, I think every reporter was, because I was reading SCMP the whole time, and it was like really quickly updated. Like the information is always new. It's always new. Like, and when I want to go out, I know where the protest is. I think it's very quick.
So it's essentially like live reporting. So basically, sometimes I'll be there covering the protest. So I'll be just filing, like I'll just WhatsApp what I see to, let's say, to the group, to my news group, or like when I'm interviewing people on the streets, I'll just send in a few quotes from what the people saying about what's happening, and then and then send it over, and then the editors will vet through, and then they will just post it up online like soon after.
Yeah, I've definitely seen breaking news where there's still like a lot of typos, so I guess those ones went through quick.
Yeah. So sometimes they have to edit along the way. So there's always like constant updates, which is pretty. I guess it's the process of how things goes when you're doing live reporting. But there's different types of live reporting as well, because there are like video journalists who like carry the camera, and then they'll just. So what happens in Hong Kong is like, basically whenever, like, let's say a protest happens, so they'll be here filming everything along the way. So you can just see what's happening real time, and then maybe there will be a reporter narrating what's happening in the scene. So it's a different type of live reporting, but it is still live reporting, and it can be still pretty stressful at times. Yeah, but there's also those that you can find on social media, minute by minute updates, or like some news websites minute by minute updates.
But you mentioned that you covered the protest in Hong Kong. How dangerous is it? And like, do you have any protection?
For journalists.
Well, when I first started out, because I guess I'm kind of lucky in a sense because when I started my internship with South China Morning Post, it was like just nice. It was when the protest started, and then no one really knew the protest would be getting more and more violent. So in the beginning, it was pretty peaceful. So I didn't have to get any gear, things like that. But then as it got worse and worse, I had to carry things like helmets, the gas mask to protect yourself from tear gas, sometimes goggles for your eyes, and then you have to wear press vests so that people can differentiate that you are a journalist and not a protester. And then these are the main, and your press pass. So these are the main things that you have to bring if you are covering a protest.
Like,
but then
full gear. You have like the picture of the full gear before you went. I think you had
Yeah, that was
yeah,
a picture.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will send you guys the photos later. But that was in SCMP, so it's basically like if you are going out, so you can rent the equipment. But then when I was working for, I don't know, maybe for foreign news organizations, like, because in my experience in the
Wall Street, right?
Yeah, the gear was a lot. Like I literally have a whole like hiking, those travel hiking bag.
Yeah, she brings around a huge backpack.
Yeah, it's this very
like,
huge backpack.
Following the march, and then she just
super heavy. But it's like, the guy in charge of the gear, everything is like, this is like, why it's really needed. So like, besides all the basic, like the helmets and the gas mask I mentioned. So what I also got was like, I got a set of like pajamas from Uniqlo.
I saw it.
It's like a sweater. It's like a very long sleeve sweater, and then long john pants. It's like thermal kind of wear, I guess, but a bit thicker. Yeah. So because what happens? Okay, maybe I should give some context. Because in Hong Kong, sometimes when the protests happen, there will be like, when the police try to disperse the protesters, they will use things like tear gas, and then they will also have things like
cannon.
The water cannon.
The water cannon.
Yeah, the water cannon is used to spray, like, let's say blue dye or like
the blue dye,
like water, like kind of with chemicals in it to disperse.
It's irritative, right?
Yeah, it's
the blue dye.
Yeah. So it's to disperse the protesters. It's just their way to disperse the protesters. So what happens if I get hit by a water cannon? The protocol is that I have to, because it will irritate my skin, right, and it will like cause burns and things like that. So the protocol is I have to go somewhere, secluded, change my clothes, change it to that pair of that pajama set, and then go home immediately. So that's how strict, like you can be when it comes to safety.
She's a hardcore journalist with 2 bodyguards.
Yeah. And if you happen to work for a news organization who is like rich, like who has more budget, so sometimes, like in my experience, they hired bodyguards to follow us. So it was actually really good because I can focus on doing my job, and then the bodyguard will look out for us. So sometimes when I'm taking video, the bodyguard doesn't want me to go too close, so they will pull me back. Like they'll pull my back and pull me back, and then if anything happens, they will literally pull me back, or like they will literally say, okay, we need to get out of here now because now let's say maybe the violence is heading this way, so we have to step back or go somewhere else. So they are really good for just keeping a lookout for me. But sometimes I'm alone for protests as well, so it can be pretty crazy. You have to be very hyper aware of your surroundings and be very careful about, try not to be at the front line all the time. Yeah, because sometimes anything can happen, when there's tension. So you have to be very careful. Oh yeah, so besides the pajamas set, there's also like, I have like a few bottles of water.
Like Krypton, of water
bottles.
And I think you have
and
pills.
The bottle,
I saw pills.
Yeah, pills. I have like
why are you rummaging through her bag?
Yeah, no, I think she took an IG story once. So
I thought you're like, big bag pills.
Yeah. So I have things like I have like energy. I don't know if it's called pills, but it's like basically it's like how do I say? It's like glucose kind of thing.
I thought
Just
it's
to
like
replenish your sugar
yeah,
levels.
yeah.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
thought
and
it's like when you want to faint,
like-
and then you
yeah,
just
yeah,
eat the
yeah,
pills.
yeah.
Is this like in case you get
Yeah, in
stuck,
case I
guess?
get like dizzy
or like
something.
a dizzy or
yeah. Because sometimes
Makes
it's really hot or something, or like sometimes it's just very crazy.
I
So
mean,
you-
like you
yeah.
stay the whole day. Like from sometimes she stays like from morning to like night.
It
I
depends
don't know
on
until what
it
time.
really depends on the editors. Sometimes I will leave halfway lah. But anyway, so and then there's also water, but you can't drink the water. It's for you to wash your face when you get hit by tear gas.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that was my experience in the Wall Street Journal, and also they even have bulletproof vests. And it's
So I
super-
think you have like quite a lot of stuff.
yeah.
And
So the
then-
bodyguards will essentially carry the bulletproof vest for us, and it's really heavy.
It's heavy,
Thankfully-
yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully I didn't. Yeah, like we don't have a chance to wear it yet, so hopefully we don't have to. But I tried
But
to
it's
carry
cool
it
if you-
before, and
if
it's
you
like
wear it.
yeah, it's like it's really so heavy. I don't know how they. Yeah, like basically they're very strong, so they're always the bodyguards are really strong, so they're always carrying all this super heavy equipment for us. So yeah, I'm very thankful. At least when I'm covering dangerous things like this, it's I feel a bit safer. Yeah, and at least I know that I'm covered.
I have a dumb question.
Yeah.
I know.
You wear glasses, right? How do you wear a mask
Oh
and still?
god. Yeah, that's the
Goggles,
thing
right?
I'm kind of debating on. Yeah, because sometimes when I wear my mask, the full gas mask, I have to take off my glasses, and when that happens, I can't see anything.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
but there was a few times I tried to wear contacts, but somehow every time I wear contacts, I don't have to wear the full gear. But when I'm not wearing contacts, then that's when all the things happen. And I have to
I
wear.
guess that's just your luck.
Yeah, so I was like, because I'm kind of worried because just in case I get, let's say, if I
Oh,
get
yeah.
hit by
Yeah.
and then with my
Your
contacts,
guess, yeah.
I don't
It
know how.
burns.
I don't know how it will feel. So I would rather not take the risk and wear contacts and risk having things in my eye. At least with glasses and nothing in my eye, it's a little easier. And I can still see. It's just a bit blurry.
Blurry.
Yeah, blurry. And then so it's really a give and take situation. I'm still
I thought-
figuring it out, to be honest.
I thought you have those lab goggles.
They're not very.
They're just protection.
I
They're
thought
not.
you wore that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, there's no
Blurry.
degree there's no degree when it comes to this. It's just you can protect your eyes to an extent, but So I don't know. It really depends on how the situation is. But most of the time, I'm not wearing contacts. I'm wearing glasses, and if I have to, then I will take it out and just wear my gas mask.
would you go to like in the future? Would you like go to places where there's war as a journalist?
Do you recommend it?
Yo, you just jump way ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, but I don't know if I have to do it yet because it's a life and death thing, kind of, right? And for my family, it's like they are already so worried that I'm in Hong
I
Kong,
was
right?
going to say, like, I think your bigger problem is will your parents?
No, my parents approve. Yeah, I don't mind. Like, I mean, I think it will kind of wreck my mental health even. I'm not even sure if, because the thing is, as a journalist, I think it's good to have a lot of contextual background knowledge to do like the stories that you are doing, right? So I'm not sure if I have that current knowledge now to just get sent into a war zone and just report. I mean, I would love to learn if there's proper protection, people, or if I've experienced people protecting me, but I wouldn't say it's like it's my dying passion, literally. Yeah, things like that. Yeah, I'm open to it, but I'm not like
You don't look for you don't
I'm not
actively look for it.
look for it.
Yeah, for it.
Yeah. So I have to factor in a lot of things like safety, and whether it's not just safety. It's sometimes in the war zones, it's just you can't get like proper sanitation or like whatever.
That's
You
true.
don't know. So it's like a lot of things to factor in.
I mean, sometimes you can't even report the story you want to, which is the sad part, right?
You
Like-
have to do it in secret, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, there's also like censorship. Also, not just in war zones, but even in Hong Kong or even in Singapore.
Yeah.
So
True.
it is it's sad because obviously as a journalist you will want to report as much as possible, right? And
Mhm.
just try to get as much out as possible. But it's just like there's a lot of repercussions, so it's kind of crazy, especially in it's really
Because you're still under a company, like it would have been
Currently,
different
yeah.
if it's like Rachel, journalist, only me, independent.
Yeah, freelance. Not really actually, because sometimes when you do freelance, sometimes you work for different news
That's true.
Yeah, so maybe the news company you happen to be working for that particular assignment, they will be protecting you. Yeah. So I wouldn't say like I guess as a freelancer there will be less protection, but I wouldn't say it's completely no protection. I don't know. I really don't know.
Makes sense.
It really depends on the news organization. So.
I have something to show.
Oh, that's my magazine. Do you have the Hong Kong one?
I only have this one.
Wait, let me find it.
Hi listeners, Rachel is taking her magazine here to show in the video format of this podcast. If you want to see it, go to our YouTube channel. Thanks!
This was what I worked on as a student journalist. I did this cover, I designed this cover. So yeah, this is the back cover.
Yo, that's for like a student journalist. That's like
So basically, when I was a student journalist in Hong Kong Baptist University, I got to be a deputy editor and the art director for my international journalism publication. So this was essentially one of my favorites. Yeah, my name is in there. So these are basically like different photos of the protests.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like a story to come.
Yeah, from
on your
different
internship as a student journalist.
Yeah, I guess like we got really lucky. A lot of the student journalists got a lot of training.
Yeah.
We are looking for this publication.
That's a huge training.
Yeah, so this magazine is called The Young Reporter. So this whole magazine was all about the protests.
I mean, it's accurate. You're young and you're a reporter, so.
Yeah, so.
Literally.
Actually, are there any old people working there?
Sorry?
Are there any old people working there?
Old people? If you count the professors, then maybe they're older. But we are student run. We are mostly student run. Run by third year and final year students. Yeah, so I think second year students as well. But yeah, so that's just essentially where we get our starting ground. That's actually where I got to cover a lot of the things regarding Hong Kong society, politics, culture, lifestyle, things like that. So I did a lot of different types of stories. So even things like business news, things like that. So it's good exposure. I got to do different types of stories. And then when the protests happen, it's really like an honor to design, to grow the social media publication. Because what happened during the protest was like social media got popular, right? Like got a lot more popular when it comes to
that's true.
when it comes to sharing what's happening at the protest. So like I managed to grow like my news, the student publication, and also with a team of editors, we grew the social media site. Where we provided updates about what's happening in Hong Kong. So that was really pretty interesting. And then I got to manage like a team of reporters when it comes to covering protests or different events.
That's a very huge role.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. I did a story on how
I think-
international students are getting worried about the protest and then whether they are worried to come back. Because at that time it was summer vacation, so that was when all the
Yeah,
violence
that's true.
started happening. So I wanted to ask international students if they are concerned about what's happening in Hong Kong and whether they still want to go back and continue their studies. So I interviewed Lauren and her mom, and then I asked for their photo, and then it got printed in the newspaper.
And then I didn't know it was going to be printed in the newspaper.
I
Like,
didn't know
what day?
either, honestly. It's the editor's choice. So yeah, but I know it will be online. I know it will be on the online version of the article. It's just I'm not sure if it will be in print. So yeah, the editor, the photo editor.
It's always the editor's choice. I remember my first story actually didn't get published at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was my second story that got published, but like
yeah, sometimes it
Yeah.
happens. Like for me, okay, as I was saying, sometimes you can work on the story for a very long time, for like ages, for like weeks or even months.
yeah.
But then things happen and then
And the
the
editor's
story
like,
is
nope.
yeah, we have to start afresh. So it's like
Yeah,
They don't
the one I worked
they
for.
don't discuss it.
Not
Sorry?
really. They don't really. We just
Oh.
when I was an intern, we just submitted, right? And then
yeah.
let's
So everything
take.
yeah. That's fun fact. Like it's the editors. It's usually the editors who write the headlines of
Yeah.
the news stories. Yeah, and then sometimes it's the editors, they will make some changes for the text as well.
I remember
So-
a story I
on
worked for a month didn't get published, but a story I worked for a week did, and I was just like, you know what, my effort doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think it's the reality because sometimes things get irrelevant as the time passes.
Yeah, that's
or,
true.
Yeah, or not as newsworthy anymore. So although it sucks, but
Yeah, but at least I got that.
yeah, you can still put it in your portfolio if
Yeah.
even not published, like as a writing sample if you really do like the work. But yeah, I mean, of course, it's better if it's published.
Yeah, no. But I guess in that route, what do you decide what to include and not include? And is it different, for
What do you mean?
lifestyle and literature?
What do you mean decide what to include? Like in what aspect?
Like just what you should include in what you report, like that.
Or maybe
Or what
like,
you don't want to include.
yeah, how do you decide what to exclude from a story, let's say?
It really depends on what kind of journalism you're talking about. Are you talking about like politics or like lifestyle or like?
We can start with lifestyle. So I think
For lifestyle, I guess what people are looking for, because sometimes there's a lot of events happening, right? So things you have to promote future events. So what's important is the details of the events. When's the event happening? What's the event about? What time? Things like that, and then some photos on what's going on. Yeah. When you are recapping something, so maybe you just have to explain some highlights on what's happening, things like that. Yeah, and I guess for event related news, that would be why I would include. Yeah. I don't know. It really depends on the story, because it's hard to just say, what's like in general what's good to include, what's not to include. Different stories have different contexts and backgrounds, and there are some things that may be more important, some things may not be important, and it's really up to your discretion or to the editor's discretion to decide what goes on.
So, as a journalist, do you just write everything you see? Well, for example,
No.
well, of course not, but maybe you write the points you think are important.
Yeah.
Then
That's
I guess it's
impossible to just write everything.
Yeah,
you
no.
see. Honestly, sometimes things you see is just not. It's just okay. It's not really that a big deal. But if it's like something that's like, oh shit, oh wow, okay, this happened, okay, then I will share it. Yeah. So yeah.
How do you handle Sorry, what?
I have like a question. Is it possible? I don't know if it's a dumb question actually. Is it possible that when you, for example, you apply for an internship or a job in a certain news company, you don't really know that the news company is biased?
Honestly, all news companies are
All
sort of
news
biased.
companies
No,
are
like
biased.
quite
They all
yeah.
have some kind of
And
bias.
and like what happens? Like, is it okay? For example, if this news company is biased towards a certain side, but you don't really agree with them, so do you report according to what they want or just what you want?
That's a good question. Because I haven't
It's
really
not dumb.
I haven't actually encountered anything that I've written that is like, it will clash with the editors. And yeah, so far not yet. I must say most of the time, most of the time it's really just on how to improve the story, things like that. Editors giving feedback on how to make the story better, and then I will just continue to revise or follow up, maybe get more interviews, things like that. Yeah, but when it comes to changing the angle, the story idea completely, and going against my morals, it hasn't happened to me yet. Maybe it might happen when I'm more experienced, so I can comment on that in the meantime.
Well,
but now
we can make it hypothetical. What happens if
if it happened?
You have this good story, because at the end of the day, a news is a point of view, right? You have the story you want to tell, but the editor says, no, you have to tell it this way. What would you do?
I'll probably argue with the editor. I was like, oh, I think this is not right because but then if they insist, then I can't really do anything. But sometimes it's I guess there are more experienced reporters who feel that they are very conflicted, and then sometimes they will leave the company or join another one, or just quit journalism. So it's
Quit journalism.
I don't know.
There's a lot of people.
Maybe they just do freelance. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who quit journalism because they were forced to write a certain perspective.
Yeah, so I hope it won't come like this for me. But I guess if I'm on that spot, I will still I guess I won't really have a choice because a job is still a job. So, but I will feel that it's just it sucks lah. Honestly, maybe
find a side job.
Yeah, but then maybe if I have the guts to, then maybe I will try to change organization if it keeps happening. Yeah, but
maybe
hypothetically that's what I'll do. But realistically, I don't know, because things like money, finances, and your career, they're all very important as well. So yeah, it's just, and then it's fighting with your morals. So it's
yeah.
The sad thing is that journalism is very subjective, and there's a lot of ethical points of views to consider. So I hope I will learn along the way and see how it goes.
So how do you handle more violent cases then? How does
violent cases? Okay. It is I do see some distressing things on the scene if I'm covering the protests, things like that. Sometimes really just a fine line, it's I mean, I get that they are doing their jobs, everyone's doing their jobs, and then protesters are also trying to be safe as well. So sometimes I just wonder, what is the line? How far can you go to not cross the line? Yes. So when you are there, it's just so hard to think about these kind of things.
Yeah, because people
Just
don't realize, I guess, how important journalist work is, especially getting a story out is not as easy as it
and
seems.
and how powerful their words can be, how far they can spread. So it's quite scary to think about it that way. So just have to be very mindful and be very careful.
I mean, words are very powerful.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing your experiences from lifestyle reporting to
Hardcore stuff.
hardcore,
you.
distressing protest stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming to our podcast. I know that was
Thank
just one
you.
of the topic we wanted to discuss about journalism, how important it is, and how people don't realize it at all.
Yeah.
I want to say support your journalist.
Go Rachel.
Print media, get some print media, can subscribe to your favorite journalists because it's definitely a year where we take them for granted and all the stories they share, especially with COVID and everything that's happening. And I just want to say support your own, especially local media. And I hope to see you next year. I hope to see you next
Yeah,
week
hopefully
for
when the
another
Next year.
yeah, maybe when the COVID restrictions leave, you can all come to Hong Kong.
Yeah, visit Hong Kong. Yeah, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, hi. Thank you for listening to the Peak Boredom Podcast. This is Mars and Inga signing off, and don't forget to tune in next week. Please. Bye.